By holding client departments accountable, we're addressing a key bottleneck, ensuring that project funding flows efficiently from start to finish. Deputy Speaker, for too long, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure has struggled with a skills deficit, undermining our project management capacities. In response, we are making a call for experienced engineers, project managers, and construction specialists to rejoin our department. Similar to Eskom's approach, we are reaching out to seasoned professionals with skills needed to oversee complex projects and help us deliver results. It is well known that too many projects have been allocated to too few competent project managers, and the return of these essential skills will help us to resolve this issue. This recruitment drive will play a crucial role in helping us address the close to 3 billion rand backlog in incomplete projects by ensuring we have the expertise required to bring these initiatives to completion. To streamline infrastructure delivery models, we're also enhancing our partnership with Infrastructure South Africa. This partnership will enable us to expedite projects where severe delays have been experienced, leveraging ISA's expertise and their resources. ISA has proven experience in cutting through red tape, removing bureaucratic barriers, and fast-tracking essential projects critical to reducing our backlog and ensuring that projects become shovel-ready without delay. We're additionally working closely with the Auditor General of South Africa to implement live auditing processes. This approach will allow us to address financial and operational issues as they arise, rather than waiting until little can be done to remedy the situation. Regular interim financial statements and live audits will provide a real-time view of project finances, prompting corrective action where necessary. This partnership with the AGSA underscores our commitment to transparency, accountability, and responsible fiscal management. One of the key initiatives we're implementing to address project delays is the National Construction Summit on Crime-Free Construction Sites taking place next Tuesday in Durban. The summit will bring together key stakeholders, including the Minister of Police, the Minister of Finance, Public Works MECs from all 9 provinces, to develop a comprehensive solution to combat the disruption to construction sites across the country. Often referred to as the construction mafia, these criminal syndicates have disrupted countless projects, costing both the public and private sector millions of rands. As I stated shortly after my appointment, we're committed to restoring the rule of law at construction sites across the country. Furthermore, we are formalizing our approach to public asset management with the introduction of technical task teams in cities across the country. Last week, we signed a first-of-its-kind memorandum of understanding with the eThekwini municipality and the provincial government of KwaZulu-Natal to identify and repurpose neglected state-owned properties in the city. By releasing these properties for request for proposals, we aim to attract private sector investment to revitalize these assets for productive use. This initiative represents a significant shift in how we manage public assets, moving from passive ownership to active utilization. Properties like the police barracks, which have remained vacant for years, will now be considered for refurbishment or repurposing. This will help generate income for the department, attract investment, create jobs, and add value to the local communities. Deputy Speaker, as we address these deep-seated issues, we're laying the groundwork for a renewed, more effective Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Every measure we implement, from blacklisting to live auditing, is a step to restoring accountability and ensuring that every project undertaken by this department fulfills its purpose. This commitment is not only to the buildings and structures we erect, but also to the South Africans who rely on these services and the communities that they are meant to serve. Let me be very clear. I will not tolerate or accept shoddy work, delayed projects, or excuses, whether from officials or contractors. The days of taking advantage of South Africans and crushing their dreams are over. I want to assure the members of this House and South Africa at large that we are committed to overcoming the obstacles that have held back our nation's infrastructure plans. As I have mentioned, we have a significant task ahead of us, but I am certain with the determination, transparency, and the rigorous standards we are now implementing, we can bring an end to the severe delays that have plagued in construction projects across the country. Deputy Speaker, honourable members, we are truly building a better South Africa, one where public assets genuinely serve the public good, and every infrastructure project lays the foundation for future growth and for opportunity. We are creating a South Africa where the era of wasting public funds on projects that run over time and over budget comes to an end. I encourage you, honourable members, to work with us as we take action to achieve this goal. This is our intended purpose. This is our mission, to build South Africa together. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. I now call on the Honourable Reddy.
Kwaza mkonto kwaza. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, let me begin by greeting our leader, President Jacob Zuma, our commanders on the ground, and the supporters of the MK Party, which is the true voice of the people and the official government in waiting. Today, as we listen to the Minister of Public Works, a DA minister now in alliance with the Ramaphosa's ANC, let us not be fooled by the excuses. This is the same DA that promised South Africans
members.
it would remove the ANC from power, only to form a coalition for the perks, the blue lights, and the comforts of high office. They are not here to serve the people. They are here to serve themselves. Members on my right, the truth hurts, especially you, my sister, beautiful sister. The minister may speak of cost containment and budget constraints, but let us be clear. Lack of money should never be an excuse for failing to build schools, hospitals, and police stations for our people. South Africa is super rich in mineral wealth. We have vast resources, yet our people wait in desperation for basic services. How is it that Mr. Ramaphosa, the Oppenheimers, and other South Africans are among the wealthiest in the world today, enriching themselves off the wealth of our land, while the majority struggle? The minister threatens to shut down and go as far as evict departments that owe public public works money. Some of these include our hospitals, schools, and other buildings that house key government departments that serve our people daily. Such
Honourable Reddy, please take your seat. Honourable members, it becomes impossible to listen to the Honourable Reddy. You are drowning him out, and I think other members would want to hear what he says. Honourable members, the MK members, I am now trying to get orders so that we can listen to the Honourable Reddy, but you are making it worse. That doesn't work. Yes, Honourable Member, do you have a point of order?
Yes, Honourable Deputy Speaker. It's just an appeal and a request from the authority that you possess to reprimand members of the government of national failure to stop interrupting the speaker in the floor. It comes with responsibility to maintain order in the House. Speaker, thank you so much.
Indeed, Honourable Member, it is my responsibility to maintain order in the House, which I am trying to do. So could we please just all settle down, calm down, and listen to the Honourable Reddy? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. The truth really hurts sometimes, but sometimes the truth needs to be spoken. It is for this reason that the MK Party, under the leadership of President Zuma, believes that our state resources must be nationalized. The profits from our land, our minerals, and our industries should not line the pockets of a few individuals. They should be used to uplift every South African, to build the infrastructure that will give our people a future. To the ANC, it's a disgrace that you sit and harp there, because your own resolutions, your own statements that you made said nationalize the mines, nationalize for the people. But today you've sold out your people. I don't blame you for making a noise here. Our minerals should fund our schools, our hospitals, our police stations, not the bank accounts of the powerful. While the minister blames his predecessor, key infrastructure projects remain incomplete. Unlike President Zuma's leadership, when schools, universities, and hospitals were built to serve our communities, this government offers only delays and deflection. And abandoned buildings, which could serve as housing for the homeless, are left to decay while millions suffer. Those are public assets, yet they are neglected by those in power, symbolic of a government that has forgotten the people. And rather than support Black contractors striving for change in the construction industry, this DA-led GNU slanders them as construction mafia, refusing to address a sector still locked in privilege. This is not transformation, it is simply cowardice. The MK party demands that South Africa's wealth should be used for the people of our country, not to protect the interests of a few. Our communities need real infrastructure, real progress, and real hope. And we will not let this government hide behind empty promises any longer. South Africans are watching you, and we will not let them down. I thank you.
I now call on the Honourable Barth.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, today I address a key pillar of government service, the state of delivery of public infrastructure. Infrastructure, like any building, relies on a solid foundation. Yet after years of neglect and mismanagement under the previous administrations, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure has become a crumbling structure, riddled with delays and inefficiencies. With our 7th administration, the time to confront these issues head-on has arrived. For this, we need strong leadership that not only is afraid of external criminal elements or obstructive internal officials. Deputy Speaker, the figures tell a very bleak story. A recent written ministerial response revealed that 78 out of 109 current projects under Public Works are either delayed or cancelled. This is an alarming 72% rate of delay. The worst offenders are the department's own KZN regional office with 1.2 billion rand in delayed projects, followed by the national head office with 850 million in delayed projects, and the Gqeberha regional office with 420 million. The impact, Speaker, is most felt across our justice system. The Department of Justice faces a 1.4 billion rand backlog, while Correctional Services suffers from 600 million rands worth of delay, and SAPS with 350 million installed projects. These delays represent failing infrastructure for our courts, police stations, and correctional facilities. Let us consider just a few projects. Barclay East Prison Repair and Maintenance delayed by 12 years. The Namakwe Police Station stalled by 10 years. The Mount Fletcher Police Station and the controversial Sarah Bartman Centre of Remembrance both delayed by 8 years. Alone, these 4 projects, which all happen to be in the Eastern Cape, account for 38 years of lost progress. Deputy Speaker, across all these delayed projects, we are looking at a cumulative delay of 119 years, more than a century of missed opportunity. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I acknowledge the steps taken by Minister Macpherson, who has inherited a department of dysfunction. His initiatives to introduce stricter tender management, establish a pre-approved panel of contractors, and create a dedicated contract management unit are the support beams needed to stabilize this shaky structure of a department. However, the minister must accelerate the blacklisting of non-performing contractors to prevent further damage to the department's reputation and the public purse. Furthermore, I applaud the minister's decision to open the tender evaluation process to public scrutiny, following the example set by KZN Public Works MEC, the Honourable Martin Meyer of the DA. The step is a vital move towards restoring public trust. The GNU has committed to building a capable and ethical state, and we applaud the DA ministers for leading the way. Let us also commend the upcoming National Construction Summit in Durban to be held on the 19th of November, led by the minister. This is a bold, whole-of-society approach in tackling the criminal interference that plagues our construction projects, bringing together key stakeholders to find practical solutions. Speaker, we must also celebrate the recent 1.4% decrease in South Africa's unemployment rate over the past quarter, a positive market response to the renewed efforts of the Government of National Unity. Notable is that the construction sector alone saw the largest job gains, with 176,000 new jobs created, a fitting testament to today's discussion. Members, let's note that investment in infrastructure can deliver up to 2 times the return, meaning that for every R1 invested, there's the potential to generate R2 in economic value. This makes infrastructure the most effective sector for driving economic growth and job creation. So the department must ensure that emerging contractors are well equipped and projects are awarded to capable firms, helping small businesses grow to higher tiers, boosting job creation. Honorable Deputy Speaker, it is critically important that we do not overlook the importance of infrastructure maintenance. Focusing solely on new projects while ignoring maintenance is like patching one hole while ignoring another. The building will still collapse. Arguably, Parliament wouldn't be operating out of a tent today if our assembly buildings had been properly maintained and looked after. Preventative and ongoing maintenance is therefore key to extending the lifespan of our infrastructure. Increased collaboration with other government spheres and the private sector is a welcome change, particularly through public-private partnerships. Institutions like the Construction Industry Development Board and the Council for the Built Environment must play a stronger role in elevating industry standards and holding our contractors accountable. Speaker, one of the biggest challenges facing public works that must be acknowledged for negatively affecting infrastructure delivery is the non-payment by client departments. 11.5 billion rand is currently owed, although disputed, to public works, 9.8 billion of which is owed by the Department of Defense, Correctional Services, and SAPS. Speaker, when payments are withheld, projects ground to a halt, and client departments are quick to blame public works for their self-inflicted issues. These intergovernmental issues must be quickly resolved to ensure timely project delivery. Honourable members, we stand at a turning point where we have an opportunity to lay fresh foundations and build public works because South Africa can only work if public works works. It is time to move beyond broken promises and deliver tangible results. Let's construct secure police stations, functional courthouses, and modern correctional facilities to serve our communities and inspire confidence in our public services. Infrastructure should be our cornerstone, not our stumbling block. South Africans deserve more than scaffolding and red tape. We must turn this country into a vibrant construction site, efficient, productive, and focused on delivering projects on time and within budget. The Minister has laid the groundwork. Now we must all work together to build on it. Thank you.
Honourable members, before I call the next speaker, Honourable Blosi, can you just wait a minute? Honourable members, I wish to remind you that the space between the two sides is sacrosanct. When the mace is here, this space in the middle may not be breached. And we've now had an incident where a member of the MK and the Minister were throwing sweets to one another. This is absolutely in contravention of our rules. Honourable member, I am speaking to you. Honourable members, I will deal with this as a warning, but then it will be referred to the Rules Committee. We do not throw things across the floor. We now proceed, Honourable Blosi.
Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, maiden speech, please. Can I have that acknowledgement? Deputy Speaker?
Please proceed, Honourable.
No, can I have the acknowledgement? It's a maiden speech.
4-minute speech, a 5-minute speech, yes. Let's put the
Maiden speech, Honorable.
maiden speech. My
Yes.
apologies. Your whip didn't inform me. Honourable members, if The honourable member says it's his maiden speech at the podium. Honourable Mhlawumbe.
Point of order. Honorable Bloss has been here since the start of this parliament. And I've seen him in numerous occasions making statements and making a speech. It's not his maiden, he's misleading the House.
Honourable Mhlawumbe, let us refer to the EFF whip. Honourable Ntlangwini.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Though the member have been active in committees, this will be his maiden speech there at the podium. Can you please also reset his time, Deputy Speaker, so that he can start with his debate? Please start with your debate, fighter. Thank you.
Honourable member, I will say when the member must start with his debate and his speech. We have dealt with this. Honourable members, the Honourable Blose and his whip says it is his maiden speech. Honourable Doug Moore.
No, thank you very much for your ruling, Deputy Speaker. I just think what's important on this point of order is to say that if the member is making his speech, he should not forget to mention the name of Julius Malema at least 3 times. He has to do that.
Honourable Doug Moore, that is not a point of order. We will now proceed. Honourable Blose, please proceed with your speech.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Speaker. I mean, a big greeting to the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the EFF, greetings to the leadership of the EFF collective and all fighters. Look, Speaker, we are here today to discuss the continued disarray within the Department of Public Works, a department that has, under the stewardship of an inept and directionless minister, become the very embodiment of government failure. The department, once an instrument of public service and infrastructure development, now stands as a tragic testament to the ongoing crisis of authority and leadership within this administration. Let us be clear here, Deputy Speaker, what we are witnessing is not merely just a failure of the department's mandate, but a deepening of the crisis facing our citizens. This is a department that is not just underperforming, but it has also developed a continuous failure of underspending. But it then cries crocodile tears about budget cuts. Why do you need more money when you can't even use it? This is a department that actively exacerbates the suffering of the South African people, the very people it's meant to serve. Let's just zoom in into the matters, Deputy Speaker. The Department of Public Works is gripped by internal power struggles. There is no cohesive vision. There is no unified approach. We are just subjected to 2 individuals who should be working in tandem to deliver essential services, but they are lacked in permanent states of perpetual dysfunction. How can we expect the successful implementation of policies when the leadership itself is fractured and divided? What type of a GNU is this one? Maybe we should give it a new name, a government of egos and self-importance. Having said that, Speaker, let's just take an opportunity, to encourage the Deputy Minister in his absentia. Squeeze that scrotum until the face turns pink. Now, as an example, Speaker, I just want us to look at the EPWP. This was an initiative that was once proclaimed as the cornerstone of government's jobs creation and poverty alleviation strategy. What was supposed to be a flagship program to create sustainable employment opportunities for millions of South Africans has now devolved into a disaster, including the announcement, by the way, by the President for Phase 5 of the EPWP, which promises 5 million jobs by 2029, is little more than a cynical attempt to placate the public with hollow promises. We all know that this is nothing but lip service, a paper thin facade that will ultimately end in failure, just like the empty promises of 1 million houses in Alexander and that so-called smart city dream that will never realize. Look, Deputy Speaker, the minister, much like the puppet leader of the so-called GNU, appears to have these unrealistic ambitions. He repeatedly speaks of a grand vision to turn South Africa into a construction site. This is like his greatest discovery of all time. What is striking, however, about this vision?
Honourable Blose, please take your seat. There's a point of order. Honourable member.
No, thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I'm rising on Rule 82, reference to members in respectful manner. We acknowledge that the Honourable Member is making his maiden speech. However, he is saying the puppet leader of the GNU. And we all know that the GNU is led by the president. So therefore, he's referring to the president as a puppet leader. Can you rule on that, Deputy Speaker?
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Member at the podium, Honourable Blose, did you say a puppet leader of the GNU?
Deputy Speaker, I'm not responsible for what people hear. I'm responsible for what I
No.
say here.
Honourable Blose,
So I never said that. I never said Ramaphosa was a puppet.
we will
leader.
then check
Thank you
the
very much.
Hansard. Thank you, and I will bring a ruling once I've checked that. Please proceed.
So, Deputy Speaker, I was saying,
You think
what
that's
is
radical
striking
Hanover? That's not
about this
radical
master
Hanover.
plan? What is
Order,
striking about
members.
the master plan is the absence plan to establish a state-owned construction company to carry out this vision. Look, we agree, turn South Africa into a construction site. Let's radically deal with South Africa infrastructural challenges. But the question is, who stands to benefit? How can it be that government leaders lack confidence in the capacity of the very same states that they govern? This is deeply contradictory. It means that they do not have confidence in themselves. We say this because the states should be at the heart of managing critical infrastructure development. By doing so, you could not only meet your targets, but you will also create millions of sustainable jobs. So you must not lie to the public. They must not lie to the public, Honorable Speaker, and say that the EFF does not teach them anything. We provide free education here for them to by refusing to go to school. We are telling you now, Honorable Minister, without massive industrialization across different municipalities, towns, and cities, that's a state-driven. You will not be able to deal decisively with the collapse of infrastructure and create decent jobs, thus curbing the surge of rising unemployment in South Africa. But look, you will never listen to superior logic. Why? Because this is a GNU that is fixated on privatization. Agri, the funders of Ramaphosa want their money back. They must get their return in investment. They must get their return in investment for buying the ANC conference and making Ramaphosa the president so that he could come back and facilitate this DA land coalition. Now it's payback time, so go on and privatize and outsource everything, but history shall judge you harshly.
The Honourable Khadebe.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. The IFP is deeply concerned about the ongoing delays in the completion of critical infrastructure projects. These delays have a detrimental impact on communities across the country. The IFP urgently calls on the department to prioritize and implement enhanced project management guidelines, accountability measures, and rigorous oversight to ensure the swift and efficient completion of all projects. Honorable Minister, we strongly recommend that these initiatives hinge on a firm commitment to transparency, as well as clear, enforceable timelines that leave little room for delays or resource misallocation. The IFP encourages the Minister to establish a system for regular progress assessment. This system should include consistent public updates to keep citizens informed and to foster trust in the department's efforts. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we urge the adoption of performance-based accountability standards that will require officials and contractors to meet specific milestones with consequences for underperformance. Implementing these standards will elevate project outcomes and reduce instances of delayed developments and excessive budgets. Through these proactive steps, the department can restore public confidence and ensure that community needs are met in a timely and reliable manner. Our new enemy in construction and particularly in the government infrastructure construction projects is the construction mafias. The impact of construction mafias is far-reaching. Their criminal activities include extortion, intimidation, theft, and the disruption of construction operations. It has caused delays, inflated project costs, and undermined public confidence in the sector. These actions deprive communities of the infrastructure they so desperately need, while enriching criminals who operate freely, exploiting the weaknesses within the system. In this regard, we urge the department to partner with law enforcement agencies to enhance security on construction sites, and combat the growing threat of construction mafias, whose criminal activities disrupt projects and undermine progress. We urge the department to look within itself and see if there are no employees who contribute to the unnecessary delays experienced in the infrastructure projects. Mhlonishwa Sekela Somlomo, siyazi ukuthi ubugebengu bukhona futhi kungenzeka ukuthi lama construction mafias ezwa ngabo abasebenzi bomnyango ukuthi umsebenzi ngamunye wokwakha infrastructure uyimalini. Ngakho ke siyakhuthaza ukuthi kwenziwe uhlelo lifestyle audit okanye uphenyo olujulile oluzoveza uma abasebenzi bomnyango bengeyona ingxenye yobugebengu obudala ukugqoza kwama infrastructure projects. By addressing these issues, Honorable Deputy Speaker, we can ensure that South Africa becomes the developmental state we envisaged and the construction site we want. Thank you.
The Honourable Souls.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Minister, I've come today to plead with you. I've come today to inform you about something that is very dear to my heart that I've experienced a few days ago. You have mentioned in your statement that there are many challenges or issues that causes delays of construction projects, such as construction mafia, etc. I've come to inform you about another thing that causes delay. Provincial governments that does not do public participation. There is a construction of a main road 533 in St. Helena Bay, a major road construction that is built through the houses or yards of people. It is also stopping people from going into their yards. They've got to park their cars at other places. And this is because provincial government in the Western Cape has not done public participation. We've attempted to peacefully deal with this and try to intervene, to call for public participation. It was agreed upon that they will do so, and they then cancelled on the eve of this meeting that had to take place. The big question that we are asking here today, seeing that we try to intervene, Honorable Minister, is what gives the Western Cape government the confidence to deny the residents of St. Helena Bay the right to consult with them? Why would they not consult with them? Is it because these are colored people? I want to believe it's not. People like Honorable Van Sale and people like Honorable Labakskachny gives me hope through the GNU that not every person with light skin is racist. I want to believe that that's the same with you, Honorable Minister. And therefore I came today to plead with you to intervene, to show the country that the GNU is actually working. You are an honorable minister of every South African and not just certain people. This is what I believe. We talk about Sarki Bartman, the project that has been delayed for 8 years. The opportunity, the recognition, the respect of my people has been delayed for over 372 years. In this very house, the former Prime Minister Foster and Verwoerd said they can't see the end of the road for the colored problem. But they then said that they leave that solution to their children. We are their children, Honorable Minister. It's time for the end of the road for what is deemed the colored problem. My people matters. I thank you.
Honourable Van Staden.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, South Africa's economic progress is currently being hampered because of incomplete infrastructure projects, and therefore investors do not want to invest in our country. The question must therefore be asked if we can blame them, and the answer is no, we cannot. Daar is verskeie redes hiervoor, en een groot probleem waarmee ons tans worstel is die feit dat die konstruksiemafia so buite beheer geraak het, dat ons ekonomie 'n massiewe plus minus 68 miljard rand kos. Dit is 61 miljard rand meer as die departement se skrale begroting van 7 miljard vir die 24-25 boekjaar. Beleggers is bekommerd oor die impak wat die konstruksiemafia op ons projekte het. 2 jaar gelede het die VF+ van hierdie podium gewaarsku dat tenderbedrog en geldvermorsing in die departement 'n tendens geraak het wat stopgesit moet word. Daar is verskeie voorbeelde hiervoor. Onder die vorige
Honorable Van
administrasie.
Staden, if you could perhaps just take your seat, honorable member.
Thank you, thank you, Deputy Speaker. Interpreter again, please. Please, otherwise this house, I'm closing the door here.
Honorable members, honorable member. Honorable members. Honorable members, would you allow me to reply? The members to my left, to my right here. Honorable members, I am waiting for you. First of all, I will ask that they check whether the interpreting services are there. I have heard interpreters a while ago. We have unfortunately a hybrid sitting and therefore the simultaneous interpretation is not working, although I did hear some interpretation a bit earlier, but it is something that I will take up. Honorable member, and then also, you cannot threaten the House to be closed. That is not in your authority. Yes, honorable member.
Ngesintu ngisho ukuthi kunomsindo, angisho lento oyishoyo. Thank you.
Thank you. I heard the interpretation a bit earlier. Yes, honorable Montana.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. You know, for the past 3 days, we've been raising the issue about translation and everything. And I think that the honorable members on the other side should actually be ashamed of themselves because the Language Commission, in fact, released a report recently showing that English and Afrikaans are the two languages that are being promoted in our own society. Parliament that's supposed to be playing a leading role in making sure that particularly the indigenous languages are respected. Is at the forefront of, and we're given technicalities.
Honorable member.
Let me finish, Deputy Speaker.
Honorable member.
But Deputy Speaker, what point is this? Which
Controller,
rule recommend?
you were not recognized. Honorable Montana, we're not going to allow a debate now. I will reply. Please give me the opportunity.
Well, the past few days we've been told we're getting a reply.
Please take your seat.
I
will
wanted to hear
reply.
it in stronger. Maybe I should go outside until you have sorted it out.
Honorable Montana, please.
This is not a choice.
Honorable Montana,
We've
I have
got to
asked
do
you
it.
to take your seat. Please take your seat. Please take your seat.
No, but I think you must respect us.
You
must respect us.
Wait.
We are really taking exception to this.
Honorable
You must
Montana,
respect us.
I would expect you to also respect me to allow me to manage
No,
the
but you
House.
don't
So
respect
please
me.
take your seat and allow me to reply to you.
Hina vanhu va kaya lava nga hi rhumela, va lava ku twa ku ri hi ri yini.
Yes, I know there's a problem with interpreting. Please take your seat. Honorable members, the matter of interpreting has been an issue I know for quite some time. And I have taken it, honorable members, it is really impossible to manage the House if everyone keeps interrupting. The matter of interpreting is extremely serious. It is a matter that I have now dealt with in a report, which has now been referred to the Rules Committee, which will be dealt with. Honorable Skosana, that is exactly what has been done. You cannot tell me I have not done that. And I'm not going to entertain any points of view now. The matter of interpreting is a problem. We acknowledge that, and we will be dealing with that. Honorable member, I'm not going to entertain this point further. I have now made my ruling in terms of the interpretation. Honorable Van Staden, if you will proceed, please complete your speech.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Die huidige minister is correct as hy sê dat die agterstand van 75 vertraagde projekte tans gemiddeld 3 jaar en 2 maande beloop. Die minister het ook
No. Deputy Chair. Respect her.
Honorable member, I have not yet recognized you.
Thanks, my love. Uyabona Deputy Chair njengoba usibona lana eParliament sinabantu abasithumile abafuna bezwe ukuthi sikhuluma ngani. Kanjalo no honorable lapho khuluma iAfrikaans njengoba sila. Nathi funa simuzwe ngama language ukuthi ukuthini. And angisiboni isidingo ukuthi why nithathe kancane lento yokuthi la eParliament sonke sibe namalungelo ukuthi sazane sibe namalungelo ngama language ethu. Ngoba la we are not visiting asivakashile lana. Sizosebenza la somela abantu bakithi. And lento ama interpreter fanele uyazi ukuthi wena awungeni is not your problem. Inkinga ikulo okuyena ophethe ama la kufanele abeqashwa khona. Ngeke from 2014 sikhuluma into eyi1 even now wena nje awungeni. Wena ngabe uthi manje akabizwe sila akhishe kule position obiyamhlula. Akakwazi ukubona ukuthi into wrong lenzakalayo. Lama language Afrikaans naye yadingeka yonke ama language. But kodwa phela sizwane la manje noma uyasithuka noma wenze njani. No, ningadlali ngathi. Wena nje awungena kancane futhi.
Honourable Member, I have in fact followed you now using the interpreting service. So it is available, but we have a problem today with the Afrikaans English interpreter. And perhaps just to give you some information in terms of where this matter, honourable members, I am busy now replying to the Honourable Makugule. It is my problem. It is my problem in terms of the fact that it is something that I have been given the responsibility to look after and which I am trying my best to solve. So I can assure you that everyone in this House has the right to speak any language, one of the 12 official languages, and we will make every effort to ensure that it is interpreted. Today we have, unfortunately, a problem with the interpretation service because there are simultaneous sittings and we have hybrid sittings because we could not meet in the tent because of the weather. So please be assured we are paying absolute attention to it. Yes, Honourable Member.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, it's an insult that you don't take this matter serious. You don't even apologize. You have not said you are sorry that we have a problem, a consistent problem, and this matter has been raised with you many times. So it is clear that black languages are not being respected in this House. You must apologize from where you're sitting because you should have made sure that the interpretive services are available for all.
Honourable members, please do not make any threats. It is very serious. You do not threaten anyone in this House. Honourable Dugmore.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I think, Deputy Speaker, the points have been raised very strongly, and I think all of us are aware that
Point of order, Madam Speaker, Deputy
There is
Speaker.
someone on the floor, Honourable Reddy, and I will allow the person on the floor.
And-
Dugmore, please proceed.
And I think we want to underline that it is not acceptable that we have still not dealt with this issue. We must accept that, but we have a situation right now where the member has every right to speak in his language. But the problem is that the translation is not working and people cannot understand that. So I think the way that we need to deal with it, the member is going to address in Afrikaans, we need someone to translate simultaneously in a language that more people would understand for this situation.
Honourable Dugmore, we don't have the arrangements for consecutive
I can
interpreting.
translate from where I'm standing right here.
Honourable Dugmore, I appreciate your proposal. Could I also perhaps just say before I go to the Honourable Reddy, Honourable members, please also remember that we would have met in the tent today and the decision was taken at the programming committee this morning that we move here because yesterday the wind was blowing extremely hard. I know that the members of the MK at some point felt they had to leave the sitting and didn't want to sit in the tent anymore. We didn't want a repeat of that. So there was a crisis in terms now of immediately getting all the interpreters, the whole service, because we have a hybrid. Please note that we have a hybrid. Those of you sitting here are not the only ones. We also have people on the virtual platform, so we have to make provision for that. Members, I'm not going to entertain this matter any longer. We are now delaying matters. Everyone has the right to speak their language, and I absolutely apologize because this is not how it should be, and that is why I have undertaken this task to make sure that there is interpreting, but it is not something that you just do like that. We have to. Honorable Mkalipi, I did not recognize you. Yes, Honorable Buthelezi, and that is now the last that I will take on this matter. Ready?
Deputy Speaker, I just wanted to assist you that from the moment we engaged in this subject, there are now more interpreters on the system. It was only English and Afrikaans. Now that we've complained, other languages are now there. So look into that too. Thank you.
I've just been informed there is interpretation now. Honorable Reddy, is it a critical point of order?
Yes, it is, Deputy Speaker. When Honorable Skosana there said he will close the door on the matter, I think it's important we need to clarify this so there's no repeat of it. Close the door is an idiomatic expression, which means that an item, we will close that item. I said close the door and you said it's a threat. It's not a threat. It means that the issue that you are raising, that we continue without interpretation, is an issue that must be closed because we must have interpretation in this House. I thank you, Madam Deputy
I absolutely
Speaker.
agree with you. We must have interpretation, but I will satisfy myself as to what exactly the Honourable Skosana said. Thank you. We will now proceed, honourable members. Honourable van Staden, please proceed.
Dankie, Adjunct Speaker. Die konstruksiemafia ruk boupersele tot stilstand wat veroorsaak dat die departement aan kontrakteurs geweldige verliese ly. Die VF+ verwelkom die minister se pogings om hierdie probleme hok te slaan en ons moet eers begin om iets te doen om van hierdie konstruksiemafia ontslae te raak. Versterking van die tender evalueringsproses.
It wasn't like boxes. Honourable Schikkeling, please mute. 5 boxes. Honourable Schikkeling, please mute your mic.
What have I done now?
Honourable Mkalipi.
Why are you calling me?
Honourable van Staden, let's try to proceed.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
I'm not a boer, I'm Kalipi.
Die versterking van die
Honourable
tender
Mkalipi.
evalueringsproses, die verbetering van interne vermoëns en die verbetering van omkeertye en die herontwerp van interne prosesse, strenger kontrakbestuur, die aanstel van 'n paneel van kontrakteurs, vaardigheidsverbetering en die werf en aanstel van bekwame en professionele persone is alles wat nodig is om hierdie departement in die regte rigting in te stuur. Die VF+ verwelkom al hierdie pogings wat aangewend word om die departement van algehele ondergang te red. Die VF+ verwelkom ook die konstruksieberaad wat op 19 November in Durban gaan plaasvind, waar koppe bymekaar gaan sit geword om die konstruksiemafia hok te slaan. Dit is iets wat al lankal reeds moes plaasgevind het. Pogings wat aangewend word om beleggings na Suid-Afrika te lok om ons infrastruktuur uit te brei, sal altyd verwelkom word. The private sector must be involved in all new projects, but also in the maintenance of our current infrastructure on all levels of government. Ons het daardie kennis en ervaring van die privaat sektor brood nodig, dat sal lei tot werkskepping en groei van die landsekonomie, en dit is nou 30 jaar duidelik, dat die staat nie sonder die privaat sektor kan funksioneer nie. Dit was probeer, maar dit het duidelik misluk. South Africa's infrastructure problems are endless, and any real efforts to resolve these problems are welcome. Let's repair and rebuild. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable van Staden. We now proceed to the Honourable Kobe.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, infrastructure is crucial for economic growth and development. Yet, under this department, it has become synonymous with delays and cost overruns. Perhaps we should aptly rename it the Department of Infrastructure Delays. But knowing this department's record, it could also take 10 more years to implement. The minister's flowery words and obfuscation mask the harsh reality, a crippling failure of oversight and accountability. With 107 projects abandoned mid-construction, each and every one of them reflects the department's chronic dysfunction, jeopardizing the lofty vision of transforming South Africa into a construction site. The numbers do not lie, Minister. These delays cost billions in wasteful expenditure. This procurement disaster, marked by inadequate oversight, has turned public works into a taxpayer's nightmare. The absence of skilled personnel and bloated and skewed project to manager ratios are set up for failure. Yet your department has sent back 7 million rand that was meant for compensation. These funds could have been used to expand the workforce and curb project mismanagement. Perhaps the most scandalous failure is in this department's failure to implement policing infrastructure. Communities, especially those living in areas terrorized by crime, have been neglected and abandoned. With 5 incomplete police stations nationwide and a 10-year delay in the telecom towers, this department has failed. Let us not forget the state's inability to maintain even the most basic infrastructure. For example, just this week in Johannesburg prison, leaky plumbing has flooded the kitchen basement where food is meant to be prepared for the staff and inmates. These leaky pipes, according to your department, will cost the state a whopping 1.2 billion rand, 75 million of which is supposedly going to be paid to fees. The minister's inaction on consequence management is damning. The Auditor General's highlights the department's failure to discipline officials implicated in misconduct. This negligence fuels corruption, enabling errant contractors to thrive unchallenged. Action SA demands immediate decisive reform. We ask you to conduct a comprehensive skills audit to address shortages in project management, engineering, and financial oversight. We ask you to overhaul completely the procurement processes to ensure transparency, awarding contracts only to experienced, reliable bidders in line with cost benchmarks. And we ask you finally to implement strict consequence management, including blacklisting non-performing contractors. Chairperson, the time for Instagram posting is over. South Africans deserve infrastructure that works, not promises that crumble. The time is now for action to rectify this department's failures before more taxpayer money and lives are put at risk. Thank you.
The Honourable Thring.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, there can be no doubt that the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure is one of the most important government departments as the custodian of the state's immovable assets, responsible for the building and maintenance of these public assets from which all government services are rendered. The immovable asset portfolio under the custodianship of this department comprises of approximately 30,000 land parcels on which some 90,000 facilities are located. It is with this in mind that in the previous administration, I called for an accelerated public-private partnership to unlock the potential of the property portfolio worth hundreds of billions of rands. Minister, I'm happy, the ACDP is happy to hear that you are moving in this direction. This department, as the largest property portfolio holder in the country, has been unable to leverage its competitive as well as its comparative advantage that it has in the property sector. Billions of rands could have been added to government coffers if due consideration was given to this public-private partnership to eliminate inefficiencies, corruption, graft, and contraventions of the PFMA, all too prevalent in the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. To underscore this point, the ACDP, one only has to look at the debacle of Telkom Towers, purchased for 695 million in 2016 as SAP's headquarters, but has been virtually empty for the last 8 years. While we welcome the independent report by the Minister on Telkom Towers, it comes with a 215 million wasteful renovation too late. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the ACGP was the only party to call for an external investigation into the 85 million rand Jersey barrier wall project along the South African and Mozambican border, which makes the Bait Bridge border fence fiasco look like a Sunday school picnic if it is left as it stands. The recommendations of the SIU, Honorable Minister, at the Causey Bay border investigation must be followed and consequence management applied. The ACGP has continuously raised the important issue of the state's immovable asset register necessary to contribute towards economic and social development and transformation of the built environment. This mandate will never be accomplished without a complete immovable asset register. The state cannot unlock land or property for social and economic development if it has no accurate record of what it owns. Minister, as you address the construction mafia and the issues that I've raised, the ACDP wishes you well in your endeavor to turn this department around. I thank you.
The Honorable Kwankwa.
Mr. Speaker, I was tempted to resist the temptation to start my speech by greeting the General here. Up until Honorable Dagmore said he can do simultaneous interpretation of that, I would like you to do that for me in Xhosa. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Auditor General's briefing on the state of affairs within the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure has laid bare a series of alarming and persistent failures that threaten the very fabric of service delivery in our country. As already stated earlier, a staggering 107 projects have been delayed, racking up a cost of more than 3 billion rands, with 63 of them left hanging for over 3 years. These delays are attributed to substandard contractor performance, resulting in unutilized infrastructure and unmet expectations for the public sector. The situation, as you've already also highlighted and admitted, is not only outrageous, but is also unsustainable. Despite spending 86% of the allocated budget on service delivery programs, only 20% of the expected outcomes have been achieved. The systemic failure of the property management trading entity over 4 years highlights the inability to drive progress, and it is now essential that people be held accountable for this dereliction of duty. The ongoing wasteful expenditure on unfinished projects such as the unoccupied telecom towers and the incomplete wall at the Causey Bay border post reflect inefficiency and mismanagement plaguing this department. I don't want to belabor the point. The presence also of construction mafias who engage in extortion has only actually served to worsen the situation, preventing contractors from completing their work on time. This, coupled with financial mismanagement, delays in critical infrastructure development, further hindering economic progress and inflaming community unrest. What's happening here in Parliament? We said there would be no delays when we bring a private sector DVSA, but now the delays are occurring here in Parliament right under our nose. We couch those delays in flowery and great English, Lega Queen Elizabeth. The other issue that we feel very important about and needs to be done is that public works, as you also indicated, must step up and ensure robust oversight, transparency, regular updates on project statuses rather. It is vital that they also intensify accountability measures and that are strengthened so that those responsible rather for delays and substandard work can be held to account. And timelines are adhered to when it comes to projects, including layer parliament glossy presentations, good DBSA, Marcel.
Next speaker is the Honorable Zibi.
Thank you, House Chair. Honorable Minister, I'm really glad that you are focusing on the basics, because what's been missing all the years, a lot of the time, is simple, effective management of infrastructure projects and consequences where targets are not met. But I'm going to share a few anecdotes with you, Minister, to illustrate some of the problems and what may need to be done or what urgently needs to be done to get even better at this. My son turns 18 next year in February. He was in diapers when the R61 between Mthatha and Ngobo was being built. It's still not finished. Can I please ask you to pay attention to that, to make sure that that project is complete, because people continue to die on that road because the work has not been completed. But I'll share with you an even crazier example. Fortunately, the problem has since been solved, but the road between Gqeberha and Utenhage and Kariega today, when they cut the grass, it's a dual carriageway. When the grass was cut between the carriages, it was long on the outside. And when they cut it on the outside, it was long on the inside. And the reason is that's a provincial road. The two pieces of land, one belongs to the metro, the other belongs to the municipality, could never cut them at the same time. Now, that's one symptom of the same problem they had in Buffalo City, where the road between the city and the airport towards Port Alfred was built. It's stunning, it's beautiful, but they couldn't tell to whom it belongs. That has an impact on the quality of the infrastructure people get, the lack of coordination between local government and the provincial government a lot of the time. So we need to work on that. But there is also a problem, Minister, that shows up in the committee on which I serve, which is an inability for entities at municipal level in particular to know which infrastructure assets are where, which gives huge problems for the completion of audits to the Auditor General. The Tshwane Metro 2 years ago hired a company to find even pipes that were installed that very year. Now, if we can't solve the problem between the national government, the provincial government, and the local government to make sure that there is sufficient coordination between them, we are still going to have a problem. So please speak to the Minister of COGTA. I'm glad that the chair of the Portfolio Committee on COGTA, Honorable Mkhize, is also here. Let's fix these problems and make sure that people get the services they deserve. I thank you.
The next speaker is the Honorable Maimane.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members, Bagais Dumela. Honorable Minister, I think we gather at a crucial time where South Africa's GDP growth in the last 10 years has averaged 1%. I think all of us can concede the very basic point which says infrastructure and the building of infrastructure is going to be crucial for our growth. I would argue that rather than equally looking backwards, let's think about what the future of infrastructure and what needs South Africa will have. Because in truth, if we fail at the project of building future infrastructure, the consequence and the pain is felt by every child who can't go to school. It's felt by every patient who goes to a broken hospital. It's felt by a police station that doesn't work, and the list goes on. I want to suggest a few, perhaps 3 interventions that are crucial if we're going to attend to the future of infrastructure built in this country. The first relies on the issue of accountability, and I think, Minister, you're on the right track on issues about effective policing, even around the construction mafia. I hope that the summit you are going to host is going to deliver the appropriate action steps rather than talk if we're going to achieve accountability in this sector. But the second is probably the more crucial one. It's a question of education. Because in truth, this country is under-educating its young South Africans, which means that naturally you have, as the President has said, a shortage of engineers, people who are involved in this sector to be able to build. The net consequence of it is that the same companies who have been gaining the same contracts will be the ones who continue the work. So if we want to build multiple South Africas, where only a few participate and many are spectators to wealth, let us miseducate our kids and see what the consequence of that will be. I would urge that let's be deliberate about skilling so that more and more people can participate. I think the third aspect is perhaps maybe crucial, which is the question of financing. And I want to propose here that we develop a centralized an effective infrastructure fund. The fundamentals are there. Truth is, municipalities are underspending, provinces in certain instances are returning, municipalities are returning funds. The governance of this fund must be transparent, it must be independent, and I'm proposing that the board be composed of a composition of private and public individuals, that the financing be a blended financing model that attracts all centralizing of all funds so that we can yield the appropriate returns. And lastly, it will borrow from sustainable financing models such as ESG so that we respond to the question of climate change as infrastructure has been destroyed in that space. We achieve that, Honorable Minister, we can ultimately build the South Africa of the future rather than correcting yesterday's mistakes. Thank you.
And now call on the Honorable Sali.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Assalamu alaikum to all. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for the information provided, and I do hope that your focus will be especially on the most marginalised who has been suffering from the crimes committed on our people due to lack of commitment to infrastructure, schools, housing, hospitals, sewage, roads, which has been sorely neglected. Incomplete infrastructure is a critical issue that continues to hinder progress and prosperity of our nation and affects our communities and burden our finances. Infrastructure development is the backbone of any growing economy. However, when these projects are left unfinished, they fail to serve the intended purpose, leaving communities without essential service and draining public funds. Eastern Cape, incomplete water infrastructure projects have left communities without access to clean drinking water, forcing residents to rely on distant, often unreliable water sources. Unfinished infrastructure places a significant financial strain on the state funds allocated for these projects and are often tied up, and any delays or mismanagement require additional resources to address issues like extortion, vandalism, and even the need to restart projects. The Maintain to Bridge project in the Eastern Cape was initially expected to ensure connectivity and stimulate the local economy. However, due to delays and financial mismanagement, the project has encountered repeated halts requiring millions more to resume construction and repair. These delays deter private investment and undermine the economic growth potential of affected regions. Communities near incomplete road projects experience limited access to local markets, making it difficult for business to grow and for residents to reach essential services like healthcare and education. In the Western Cape, there are several houses standing incomplete over the past 10 years. There is a housing crisis, but provincial government are dragging their feet to complete the houses, which have now been taken over by criminals. To address this crisis, we must ensure better oversight, accountability in the planning and execution of infrastructure projects. Collaborative efforts between government departments, contractors, and communities are essential to ensure projects are completed on time and within budget. Transparent project reporting, strict penalties for contractors who fail to deliver, and continuous community engagement are critical steps in restoring trust that our infrastructure investment benefits our people. Sarah Bartman is but one of many examples of how taxpayers are robbed by several stakeholders entrusted. Over 240 million spent on a project not even halfway. Honourable Speaker, incomplete infrastructure not only squanders valuable resources, but also denies our citizens the basic rights to service and opportunity. Key here is that there is a need for accountability, proper planning, oversight, and foreseeability. What is very concerning in this House is the amount of politicking and not realizing how many has failed in their responsibility of oversight. Who suffers? The citizens of South Africa. I thank you.
And now call on the Honourable Mashlatsi.
Thank you, Speaker. Unity Africa. The infrastructure development is vital for enhancing the government service delivery, driving economic growth, and improving quality of life for South Africans. However, persistent delays have undermined these goals, leading to insufficiencies, poor job creation, stagnated economic development, which have significant consequences for the livelihood of our citizens. The UAT has identified 3 provinces that stand out in the severe impact of these delays on essential services and local economy. In Gauteng, the Pretoria Magistrate Court's modernization project has encountered significant procurement delay. This setback has contributed to severe overcrowding in courts, thereby undermining access to justice. This delay directly impacted judicial processes, obstructing the fair and timely administration of justice, which is essential for upholding law and order and maintaining public confidence in the legal system. In the province of Limpopo, Polokwane Magistrate Court has also faced considerable delay due to mismanagement of funds and payment issues. The postponement of this project has created a substantial backlog in the case of processing, which adversely affect the access to justice for local communities in the province. In the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the KZN Department of Education continues to experience severe funding shortages that has stalled necessary upgrades to educational infrastructure. This direct negative impact on quality of education provided to students in province, and further delay could result in the long-term damage to educational standards. The consequences of this delay are profound. They not only hinder the delivery of essential public services such as justice, healthcare, education, and public safety, but they also prevent citizens from accessing their rights and dignities. Moreover, the postponement completion of this project stifle local economic growth, limit job creation, exacerbate challenges in public service delivery. Minister, what steps are being taken to address and resolve these delays? Specifically, what measures are being implemented to ensure timely completion of this critical infrastructure project? Additionally, how is your office addressing an ongoing issue of delaying payment to constructors, which further exacerbate the challenges and extend the project timely? We wait for your response and the concrete steps that will be taken to ensure that this vital infrastructure project are completed without further delay. Kanimambo.
The next speaker is the Honorable Mashlangu.
Ngiyathokoza ke kusekela sihlalo ngilotshise ke amalunga wonke weParliament ngilotshise egameni le-ANC. Deputy Speaker, scholars and economists who have studied the relationship between investment in infrastructure and economic development have found that there exists a positive relationship between infrastructure development or investment in infrastructure and macroeconomic indicators like employment and economic growth. They argue that there are jobs in entire infrastructure development value chain, from building to maintenance, safekeeping and operating. The importance of infrastructure in the economic growth and development equation was succinctly put by the European Commission when they argue that all successful nations have delivered quality infrastructure for development to flourish. Here they are referring to countries like China, Singapore, Rwanda, and many more. Research from World Bank has revealed that infrastructure investment can have a multiplier effect on the economy of any country, meaning that for each rand we spend in investing in infrastructure, we can reliably measure the other sectors of the economy it impacts on and the quantum. In fact, the research reveals that investing in infrastructure can be useful in fighting against poverty, unemployment, inequality, and increased economic productivity. These were properly illustrated in a case of Senegal's increased access to broadband infrastructure, which improved households' quality of life, and it resulted in a 10% poverty decrease in Senegal. Moreover, the studies clearly demonstrate that a 10% increase in mobile broadband infrastructure access can increase the economy of the country by 2.8%. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this understanding of the impact of infrastructure development in the economy is extremely important when we debate the delays of completion of infrastructure projects in the country. It is important because it clearly demonstrates that we are not only delaying access to quality service delivery to beneficiaries of public infrastructure. However, we are also compromising the fight to reduce unemployment, which Stats SA revealed that marginally declined to 32.1%. And our efforts to grow the economy of the country at 5% per year, as envisaged in the National Development Plan. The ANC manifesto identifies investment in public infrastructure as a priority because we are accurately aware that if we implement infrastructure projects within time and budgeted amounts, we increase our chances of creating inclusive economic growth and jobs, as revealed by scientific data articulated above. The development of social infrastructure is to ensure that the quality of lives of the working class and the poor is improved. Economic infrastructural development is geared towards microeconomic development and local industrial development in both the urban and rural areas. Transport infrastructure in a form of rail, roads set to connect local markets is geared towards ensuring success of the district development model. Over several years, the country has experienced a number of challenges with infrastructure through vandalism of community rail infrastructure. The ANC government at the time dealt with this cause through law enforcement and several arrests were made. We must also appreciate the sixth administration through the then Progressive Minister, Honorable Sihle Zikalala, for initiating an investigation, in particular on top 50 delayed projects. Further appreciate the prosecution of those involved in corruption, such as bail breach case, where through courts there has been a judgment to recover losses. Furthermore, challenges in the construction industry also occurred through unrest, invasion of site, through blackmail of owners, site workers, as well as the role of construction mafias. State capture and corruption has plagued the construction of infrastructure projects. Also, these challenges negatively impacted on the construction of infrastructure, causes delay in infrastructure construction. These delays have an effect of cost overruns and also negatively impact the economy, which some estimate at 40 billion. In the report of the Department of Public Works, the Auditor General highlighted that there is a number of incomplete infrastructure projects for which budgeted has been expanded since 2012, some of which have created social problems in different areas. Forensic investigation are necessary. Law enforcement in a form of SIU, other agencies need to deal with this root cause of delays in infrastructure projects, need to take further action to root out the problems. These projects need to be investigated. There needs to be both consequence management, legal action taken to incomplete work. Incomplete infrastructure projects need to be costed and complete, because if we do not, the investment we have already made goes to waste. Above all, our people are deprived the services the infrastructure was meant to provide. The cost to the economy for delays in infrastructure projects is high, as it disrupts the vital services, has a negative impact on citizens. Therefore, our government must take action against all sonry who have involved in delaying infrastructure, as supported by legal framework in the country. Moreover, delays increases the capital cost of projects, as many results in cost overrun. This places pressure in the budget within tight fiscal environment. Capital-intensive infrastructure projects must be properly planned and implemented within time frame, completed within the allocated budget. This requires the state build capacity to implement project management capital. The building of capacity to deliver an infrastructure project as budgeted time cost cannot be a vote of project management or populism, as recently demonstrated by the minister when he announced the need of an advisory council on infrastructure without canvassing to cabinet and other relevant stakeholders. As the ANC were of the firm view that building capacity requires scientific study of the failure in the system of infrastructure delivery and the development of measures and tried and tested solution. Parliament is not a forum to lobby for such. However, we are of the view that if the president agrees such a request, given that there is an infrastructure South Africa exists under the presidency, in other words, a compelling case needs to be made for such an advisory council. If such a structure is necessary, then in terms of reference needs to be clearly defined. It needs to operate transparently. It cannot be a decision-making body, but an advisory body, and it must be empower the department to implement infrastructure projects. As I conclude,
I want to conclude by condemning all forms of criminality which delay infrastructure delivery and urge all law enforcement agencies to act without hesitation as these people rob the country of future jobs and economic growth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. That concludes party responses to the ministerial statement. I'll now recognize the honorable the minister to reply.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Let me try and deal with those who came here to do nothing other than grandstand and make strange statements. You know, the Honorable already talks about selling out. There is no one who has politically sold out more than that man. He has joined 4 political parties, including the DA, and now he finds himself in camouflage. He has sold out one political party after another, and he will sell out the MK as well. And let me say, I'm glad that the Honorable Reddy has finally admitted that they are the shop stewards of the construction mafia. That's exactly what he said today. And even when you go to people who have been arrested for extortion activities, do you know what shirts people are wearing outside in support of them? MK shirts. Because the construction mafia and the MK are one and the same thing. And I understand why MK does not want to see transparency in tender processes. They hate the idea of getting value for money. They would rather have black rural communities suffer because projects cannot be completed on time than ensure that they are completed on time due to infrastructure being delivered from transparent processes. You know, there is a party that understands and recognizes failed infrastructure projects, and that's the EFF. You'll recall On Point Engineering, a company that was linked to the previous or to the leader of the EFF that couldn't deliver a project in Limpopo. And talking of dysfunctional and power struggles within a political party, they know what that looks like. Mass exoduses of their own leaders. Their
Yes,
own
if you don't
members
have anything to
plotting
say,
to
just
form
finish, man. Just leave
MK
the podium.
in their own house. They were doing it. They plotted and formed this party while they were sitting at the dinner table.
When I just finish what you have written, when I
Please take your
matriculate.
seat for a moment there.
House Chair.
Honorable
Chair.
members to my left, I can only take order. I can only take one point at a time. Honorable Montana.
House Chair, is the Honorable Minister willing to take a question?
Honorable Minister, are you prepared to take a question at this time? Honorable Minister indicates no. Please take your seat. Honorable Minister, please continue.
Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
House Chair.
Please
House
just
Chair.
take your seat. Honorable Mahotwe, please don't unmute and speak. If you do want to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will be alerted by the table staff. For now, I'm recognizing the Honorable Reddy in the House.
Thank you.
But Chair, I'm here.
the acting
Recognize me.
speaker.
Why you have a problem with me now?
Honorable
Acting
Mahotwe,
Speaker.
my apologies, Honorable Reddy. Honorable Mahotwe, I've just now indicated to you, please do not unmute and speak. Whilst we're back in the hybrid, it makes it very unmanageable. Please use the virtual hand raise function.
I did, House Chair. I did.
Thank you. Then I will get to you. Thank you. Honorable Reddy, please proceed.
Acting Speaker, the minister is proving that he knows nothing about the department. He's
No,
not answering the
Honorable
question.
Reddy,
No,
that's
he's
not a
he's
point of
raising-
order.
He's not raising pertinent issues here.
No.
He's personalizing, playing
Honorable
the
Reddy.
role and not the man.
Honorable Reddy, thank you. Please take your seat.
No, you need to rule that he needs to keep
Honorable
to the
Reddy.
points that were
Please
raised
take-
by us. Answer issues. He makes
Honorable Reddy.
allegations that MK
Honorable
is
Reddy,
supporting construction
take your
mafia.
seat now.
It's a serious allegation. He
Please,
must
I'm
substantiate
going to give
that.
you another opportunity to take your seat. Honorable members, the rules clearly state that when we interrupt a speaker at the podium, it's either to request whether the speaker is prepared to take a question or to rise on a point of order. Honorable Reddy, what you now attempted to do is to react to the points the minister is making in response to your speech, and that's not permissible. Please don't do that again. Honorable Mahatwe on the virtual platform.
Thank you, House Chair. House Chair, I want to bring to your attention two issues. One, that not so knowledgeable minister is casting aspersions on the person of the Commander-in-Chief and the President of the EFF, Honorable Malem. That is completely out of order. When he has got an issue, he must bring a substantive motion. That's one. He wouldn't know because he's just clueless generally about all the matters. One. Two, that matter that he's talking about is a matter that was ventilated in court. And the Commander-in-Chief was cleared from that. So let's educate him to know before he comes there and waste our time.
Okay,
He's
Honorable
supposed to be
Mahatwe.
responding to questions, not
Honorable
to be saying
Mahatwe.
wrong things, misleading this house. He must
Thank
be
you,
rude.
Honorable
Order,
Mahatwe.
withdraw, House Chair, please. He must withdraw.
Honorable Mahatwe, thank you. On your first point, I will look at the Hansard and see whether the minister has cast aspersions on the leader of the EFF, and then I will make a ruling. On your second point, that is once again an attempt to insert yourself in the debate, which you please must also refrain from. Honorable Minister, please continue.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Because the truth of the matter is, with every project and every rand that is spent on infrastructure, the EFF only considers what's in it for us, not what's in it for South Africa. House Chairperson, there was a bizarre speech given by Action SA here today that the Honorable Kobe said that the only contribution that we offered was flowery words, and yet she didn't offer a single contribution. But let's look at her party's contribution to infrastructure. In Action SA's coalition with the EFF in Johannesburg, they cannot fix a single thing in Johannesburg. Bree Street, water cuts in Johannesburg and now Tshwane. She clearly didn't listen to a single thing that I said, including transparency and tendering. But that's the problem when you come up here to—
Order, honorable members.
You actually don't listen
Honorable
to what is being
members.
said before you.
Honorable Minister, just one moment. Order. Order. Honorable members, it's perfectly permissible in terms of a lively debate to interject. But what we now have is a drowning out of the minister. The minister listened to all of the party responses and he now has a right to respond. Order. Honorable members. Honorable members, we can't have that. Please be orderly. Honorable member, I will now, if the minister is again drowned out, start identifying members who are acting in a grossly disorderly manner. Please give the minister an opportunity to respond. Minister, please continue.
Thank you very much. So I would really encourage the Honorable Kobe to, instead of just reading her speech, listen to what has been said and respond accordingly. Honorable Zibi, let me say that indeed you start an interesting conversation because this department must be held accountable for only what is within its responsibility. And unfortunately, the projects that you stated are not within our responsibility, but it's what we want to start getting involved in. We want to see a central focus of infrastructure planning within the country so that those projects can be delivered on time and on budget, and to use Infrastructure South Africa as that central point. House Chairperson, infrastructure, when it is done correctly, changes people's lives, it grows the economy, and it creates jobs. And I want to use two examples of where one is done correctly and where one is done incorrectly. If you look at infrastructure development and spending and prioritization within the Western Cape, you see the years of investment and prioritizing and spending on infrastructure led to an increase in 75,000 jobs within the last quarter, 75,000 jobs. But when you benchmark that against Gauteng, which has now become a wasteland for infrastructure development, where they cannot even fix a street in Bree Street after 1 year, it is because they don't care about infrastructure development. And that is where we are going to intervene. We are going to start intervening in provinces like Gauteng that cannot deliver infrastructure, cannot build infrastructure, and cannot fix the most basic of things like water, like roads, and to ensure that the electricity stays on. But we also have to recognize that when
Order,
parties like
honorable
the
members.
Thank you. We have to recognize that when parties like the EFF and Action SA get together in local government, it has devastating consequences for the electorate. So we will act without fear and favor, and we will ensure that we continue to turn South Africa into a construction site. I thank you so much.
Honorable members, order. Honorable members, the next item on today's order paper is questions, oral questions. Firstly, there's an announcement. You would have noted that on today's question paper, there was questions that has been transferred from written to oral in terms of Rule 146(1). The written replies to these questions have been received in time, and as a result, these questions will no longer be addressed orally today. So we then move on to questions addressed to the ministers in Cluster 3 governance. There are 4 supplementary questions on each question. Parties have given an indication of which questions their ministers, their members who are connecting to the sitting through the virtual platform. My apologies. Adequate notice was given to parties for this purpose. This was done to facilitate participation of members who are also connected through the virtual platform. The members who will pose supplementary questions will be recognized by the presiding officer. In allocating opportunities for supplementary questions, the principle of fairness, amongst others, has been applied. If a member who is supposed to ask a supplementary question through the virtual platform is unable to do so due to technical difficulties, the party whip on duty will be allowed to ask the question on their behalf. When all the supplementary questions have been answered by the executive, we will proceed to the next question on the question paper. The first question has been asked by the Honorable Kaba Mthaba to the Minister of Public Service and Administration. The question is about the department's collaboration with the state technology entities to overcome connectivity challenges at several public service points and the professionalization of the public service. The Honorable the Minister.
Thank you very much, House Chair and honorable members. The Department of Public Service and Administration is committed to advancing service delivery by addressing connectivity challenges that impacts public service points and untimely inconvenience citizens. To achieve this, we have established strategic partnerships with key state technology entities to ensure that the public service is not only professionalized, but also resilient and responsive to the needs of our people. The department has collaborated with numerous state-owned entities, such as the State Information Technology Agency, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, and the Center for Public Service Innovation. Each partnership, House Chair, is structured to address specific challenges as they arise, ensuring that solutions are both targeted and effective. In case of connectivity, DCDT, CETA, and BPI have completed phase 1 of SA Connect initiative, which seeks to provide broadband connectivity to various service delivery sites, e.g. schools, police station, and healthcare services, healthcare centers rather. But despite Proclamation 47 of 2014, which shifted CETA's oversight to the Department of Communications and Digital Technology, the department maintains a close collaboration relationship with the CETA due to recognizing that connectivity.
Chair, I've been raising my hand on the platform. You don't even recognize us.
My apologies, Honorable Minister. My apologies. Is it the Honorable
Mkalipi.
Mkalipi?
Mkalipi. Yeah, Chair,
apologies,
we
I
don't hear
didn't-
what the Yeah,
Please
I raise a
proceed.
point of order, Chair. We don't hear what the minister is saying. Please, can you speak towards the mic on
Thank
the
you.
virtual platform, please?
We'll do so. Honorable Minister, yeah, you are one of the shorter ministers, but please sit down.
Thank you very much. Should I start from the beginning? Okay.
Yeah, maybe for the benefit of those on the virtual
Yes.
platform, please do so.
Thank you, Chair. I was saying that the Department of Public Service and Administration is committed to advancing service delivery by addressing connectivity challenges that impacts public service points and untimely inconvenience citizens. To achieve the following, we have established strategic partnerships with key state technology entities to ensure that the public service is not only professionalized, but also resilient and responsive to the needs of our people. The department has also collaborated with numerous state-owned entities such as the State Information Technology Agency, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, and the Center for Public Service Innovation. Each partnership in this case is structured to address specific challenges as they arise, ensuring that solutions are both targeted and effective. In case of the connectivity, DCDT, CETA, BBI have completed phase 1 of SA Connect initiative, which seeks to provide broadband connectivity to various service delivery sites like schools, police stations, and healthcare facilities. Despite Proclamation 47 of 2014, which shifted CETA's oversight from the department to the Department of Communication and Digital Technology, the department maintains a close collaborative relationship with CETA. Due to recognizing the connectivity is an essential service for public departments, our engagement are anchored in a quarterly review process with the Government Information Technology Officers Council. This session allows CETA to report on connectivity challenges affecting service delivery points and provide updates on remedial actions taken to minimize IT disruption and downtime. I must also mention, Chair, that legislation mandates that departments source connectivity through CETA. These structural requirements underscore CETA's critical role in addressing connectivity needs within the public service. The department also uses its position to influence, to encourage CETA to enhance service reliability and ensure that all departments benefit from seamless connectivity. This legislative structure provides for a framework for the department to ensure that service delivery improvements remain a top priority. In our ongoing collaboration with the CPSI and the CSIR, we continue to push for innovative solutions, Chair, that streamline public service functions. For an example, our partnership with these entities has led to a creation of a digital fingerprinting solution, which is a groundbreaking tool that enables the identification of individuals, including unclaimed bodies in government mutualities through fingerprint technology. Department's collaborative effort with CETA, CSIR, CPIS, and all other entities are integral to our mission to build a modern, professional, and efficient public service, and we are committed to addressing connectivity gaps and developing innovative solutions that enhances accessibility.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Taban Chaba, you have the opportunity to ask the first supplementary question.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Minister, many households in Gauteng, Ivory Park, and KwaZulu-Natal, Msinga, are currently facing electricity challenges, losing their footy and productive time due to Eskom's upgrade of electricity meters system. Now, Minister, which impact the quality of the public services? Ngqongqoshe ohloniphekile, nanku umbuzo. Ngabe yiziphi izinhlelo umnyango ozisebenzisayo ukuze uqinisekise ukuthi izinhlelo ze-ICT ziyawusebenzela umphakathi? Ngoba phela ngqongqoshe ngokomgomo kahulumeni, kumele uhulumeni angenelele ukuletha usizo olusheshayo, ukuxazulula izinselelo zobuchwepheshe nobuxhakaxhaka phakathi komphakathi ukuze zonke izinhlaka, kizo zonke izinhlaka zikahulumeni ngesikhathi. Ngqongqoshe ngithunywa lapha umama wasempindweni lenyandeni e-Eastern Cape, uthi akanayo iselfoni enobucwebecwebe ekwazi ukumbonisa yonke into nokuthi alinde umnyuziki wakwa Eskom omkhalela endlebeni azakhathale. Ngiphinde ngithunywe umama osemhlabi yalingana ejozini. Uthi angisho ukuthi uhola impesheni ngqongqoshe akanayo imali yokufaka i-airtime yokuthi kukhala ummusic for 2 hours endlebeni azakhathale. Nakhu-ke ngqongqoshe engifuna ukusho. UMamthembu phansi kwentaba eMashunka uhola impesheni akanayo imali. Ake kwenziwe uhlelo lokuthi uma umuntu efonela u-Eskom lubanjwe
Honourable member,
ngamasinyane.
your time has now expired. Honourable Minister.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu, Honorable Chairperson. I think to help to prevent the disruption in services due to ICT issues, the department has introduced several proactive measures in this regard. Firstly, there is a ICT policy framework. This policy framework was issued in 2022-23, which speaks to corporate governance of the ICT policy framework, which follows also international standards. This guides the department in managing ICT systems effectively while assisting them to prepare for and also handle any risk that may arise. Also, we have issued some directive which ensure that the department assess ICT risk and plan in advance for continuity so that services cannot be affected in case there are technical challenges. Also, House Chair, the department has launched a toolkit with 25 key risk areas that might impact ICT services. This tool therefore helps the department like transport to identify potential risks and plan solutions to prevent service outages. So these, chairpersons, are some of the steps that the department is taking to ensure that departments have right standards and procedures and processes in place to manage ICT challenges effectively while actually making sure that services are delivered reliably. Ngiyabonga, ngicabanga ukuthi ngizame ukumphendula umhlonishwa.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The second supplementary question is to be asked by the Honourable de Villiers.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, the professionalization of the state is a stated goal of the GNU, and one of the biggest hurdles to overcome is ensuring efficient, dependable, and fit-for-purpose IT infrastructure to government departments, especially given all the frustrations around the monopoly CETA has on state IT services. Minister, if any entity under you wants to deviate from the monopolistic IT services controlled by CETA and follow normal procurement procedures to acquire IT solutions from the market, will you consider signing off these deviations so that these entities can urgently find the innovative IT solutions they need to professionalize our state? Thank you.
The Honourable the Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. First and foremost, I think it's important to all appreciate that we need an efficient and dependable ICT in order to professionalize and to deliver on our mandate as the seventh administration. However, when it relates to the issue of considering giving a deviation when there are some government entities that wants to procure some services elsewhere, I think myself and the Minister of Communication, we are planning to have a meeting so that we first identify what are the real challenges that CETA is facing. And if there is a need to consider deviation, there must be first a standard which will direct as to what are the conditions under which such a deviation can be granted, so that we don't open ourselves to deviation which will undermine the very same purpose that we're trying to deal with. I think there will be that consideration, but before that, we must sit down and put in place standards according to which we have to refer when we want to consider any deviation, as it relates to other matters that seek some deviation. Thank you.
Thank you. The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Mkunu.
Ngiyabonga somlomo ohloniphekile. Ngqongqoshe, yini oyenzile ukuthi izidingo ngangi zobuchwepheshe besimanje i-technology ukuthi ziyafinyelela eindaweni zonke even ezabantu laba abantulayo emakhaya, ikakhulukazi kumkhakha wezemfundo ezikoleni, emtholampilo, emaphoyiseni, ngoba kumele nabo bacijeke kwi-technology. Ngoba lokhu kuyalekelela kakhulu ekutheni basize umphakathi. Inhloso siyazi ukuthi uhulumeni uthe izwe lonke alisebenze ngalobuchwepheshe besimanje. Siwumkhonto wesizwe phathi. Awusichazeleke ngqongqoshe ukuthi njengoba senasebenzisana nontamo olukhuni nakhohlwa abantu njengomnyango ke nidlala yiphi indima uqinisekisa ukuthi lokhu kuxhumana okusheshayo kuyafinyelela emakhaya lapho uhulumeni ehambisa khona izinsiza.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Honourable the Minister.
Uh, Thank you very much, House Chair. Okokuqala nje mhlawumbe ukuphendula ilungu ehloniphekileyo ukuthi ke noma kumkhonto ungahle ugwazi kodwa afana abheke ukuthi ungagwazi yena siqu sakhe. Ngoba lokhu nje okokuqala kushoyo ukuthi sikhethe ukuhlwamuka abantu sisebenze nongqiwankulu ukhuluma nje imbudane into engekho leyo futhi ngiyakholwa ukuthi nayo yazizwa ukuthi kokushoyo akukho. Kodwa ke iqiniswe ngelithi
Honourable Minister, just take your seat for a moment. Honourable Manye, why do you want to be recognized?
Thank you, Chair. The minister has used an unparliamentary.
Order, honourable members.
I'm rising on Rule 92, read with Rule 85. The minister has used an unparliamentary term and saying our member is talking in Bhutane. It means he's talking nonsense. It's an unparliamentary term. He must withdraw. Yeah.
Okay, Honourable Minister, that didn't come through in the translation, but I don't know whether you're prepared to maybe deal with the issue.
no, I think, Chair, I'm never interested in trying to educate somebody about my language. I'm an Nkosi, I'm a prince, I'm the custodian of isiZulu.
Okay.
If he does not understand isiZulu, it's not my business. His member there understands what I'm saying because he posed the question in isiZulu. Ngizoqhubeka lapho-ke.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Just hold on for a moment. Honourable Manye, order. In the circumstances, I will consult the Hansard and then make a ruling. Honourable Minister, please continue with your substantive answer.
Ngizoqhubeka ngoba sengilungisele embudane. Ngisho ukuthi ilunga elihloniphekileyo liqinisile uma lisho ukuthi noma kuthiwa ibuphi ubuchwepheshe esiza nabo ukuzama ukuprofessionalize i-public service nokuletha izidingo kubantu. Kufanele ubuchwepheshe kungashiya abantu basemakhaya nabahluphekayo ngemuva. Ilokho kumnyango oqinisekisayo ukuthi yonke inhlobo yobuchwepheshe lobu i-technology kufanele ibe all inclusive. Rural people must be on board, they must never be left behind. Ilokho ke sikwenza ke sengichazile ukuthi phakathi kwezinye zezinto empilweni yokuqala kukhona ukuthi uqinisekise ukuthi ey'ndaweni lezo ezizinda zabantu njengey'kole kungaba izibhedlela kube nokuxhumana okungamukiyo uhulumeni uqinisekise ukuze abantu bakithi bekwazi ukuthi uma befuna izidingo zonke ey'dinga ukuxhumana lokhu kwe-technology bakwazi ukufuna kulokho. So ngikholwa ukuthi-ke akathembe ukuthi lokhu esikwenzayo kuyikho kanye lokhu naye akufunayo ukuthi i-development and also i-technology and our innovation is all inclusive, including people who are in deep rural areas, people living with disability. They must also be
Honourable Minister,
considered.
just
Thank
hold
you.
on for a moment. Honourable Member, why do you want to be recognized?
Ngicabanga ukuthi ungqongqoshe akaphenduli umbuzo ngoba umbuzo ubuthi yini aseyenzile not yini
Honourable Member.
yenzeke.
Thank you, Honourable Member, but that's not how we deal with answers. The Minister has an opportunity to respond as it is. He still has 28 seconds left of his time and you've already made up your mind he didn't answer. Please don't do that. Let's pose our questions and then let's give the Minister a response, an opportunity to respond and to take the floor and just to state that the Minister is not answering. It's not allowed. in terms of code.
Honourable, to conclude, Honourable Chair.
Honourable Minister, please continue.
Yes, to conclude, I'm not sure whether 2022 and 2023 is in the future. I'm not sure of that. I'm not also sure whether 2021, 22 is in the future, as what the member is saying to say She wants to know what we have done, not what we are going to do. So this is in the past, Honorable Member. Thank you.
Thank you. The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Sali.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable
Order, honorable members. This is a smaller, more intimate venue than the marquee. Maybe we've now become accustomed to just raising our voices at the marquee. Please, let's give the Honorable Sali an opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Minister, although the slow pace of connectivity can be blamed on the service providers, there's no doubt that the internet speed in South Africa have dropped drastically since a rockfall in the Congo Canyon broke the West Africa cable system and South Atlantic 3 subsea cables. Is the minister considering satellite internet as a backup to connectivity problems? I thank you.
The Honorable the Minister.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Indeed, that is one thing that we have to and are considering, because it's in our best interest to make sure that services are actually delivered without any interruption. We agree that most of the time you find that the internet speed is very low, and there's a number of reasons as to why that is happening. Also, it leads to the issue of cable theft and battery being stolen by thugs. But any intervention that seeks to mitigate and ensure that there is efficiency in our delivery of services is most welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. Question number 639 has been asked by the Honorable Mahlatsi to the Minister for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. The question is about the steps the department is taking to identify and address corruption in municipalities, specifically bribery of supply chain and finance officials, and steps to address such misconduct to uphold the integrity of municipal financial management. The Honorable the Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. To tackle corruption within municipalities, our department is taking immediate actions. We are strengthening transparency and accountability by enhancing disclosure requirements for tender processes and promoting whistleblower protection. The immediate steps include the following. 1, investigations and audits. Conducting regular audits and investigation to detect and prevent corrupt practices, mainly focusing on supply chain and finance officials. 2, capacity building, providing training and support to municipal officials to enhance their capacity in managing tender and contracts. 3, collaboration, working closely with law enforcement agencies, the National Prosecuting Authority, and other stakeholders to investigate and prosecute corruption. Preventative measures include 4 steps. That is robust supply chain management practices, ensuring municipalities apply sound supply chain management practices to prevent irregular expenditure and maladministration. Secondly, financial management enhancement. That is strengthening financial management and oversight to prevent corruption and ensure accountability. Thirdly, reporting channels, establishing clear reporting channels for unethical conduct, corruption, and non-compliance. Fourthly, consequence management, ensuring swift action is taken against those found guilty of corruption, including disciplinary actions and prosecution. By implementing these measures, we aim to uphold the integrity of the municipal financial management and prevent corruption. Our department is committed to eradicating corruption and promoting good governance in municipalities. To promote a culture of ethics and integrity within municipalities, the department issued a circular on the adoption of the Code of Ethical Leadership in Local Government to all municipalities in October 2024. This code outlines the necessary action to achieve well-governed, efficient, effective, and ethical leadership in local government. Furthermore, in collaboration with the National School of Government and SALGA, the department will launch the Local Government Ethics e-learning program before the end of the current financial year. This training program will assist councillors and officials in understanding ethical standards and the ethical issues they may encounter in their environment. Through this initiative, Honorable Chair, we aim to enhance the understanding and application of ethical standards at the local government level and to equip participants with the skills to identify and respond to ethical dilemmas. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Mahlatsi, you have the opportunity to ask the first supplementary question.
Thank you, Speaker. Now, I'm glad, Minister, that you mentioned that one of the tools that we are using is preventative. There was a commitment to institutionalize the vetting process in the municipalities. Then my question is, what is the level of compliance to the vetting process in the municipalities? Moreover, the supply chain management and finance. The second question, are you supporting the vetting process in the municipalities? Thank you.
The Honorable the Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Yes, the vetting process is what must be done if we have to combat corruption at any level of government. As I indicated in the response, the department is in a program of ensuring that these measures we are implementing are going to be instituted in our municipalities, and our focus is on the finance section where tenders and corruption at most appears. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Kwankwa.
Thank you, House Chair. Minister, you would agree that this is a disaster of titanic proportions. Why am I saying that? It's simply because every single week we are inundated with calls from different service providers abangabhatalwanga ngomasipala for various reasons. The process iqala ku-deviation. Baqale ba-procure izinto abantu urgently kufuneka beyibribile because you short circuit the processes. After that baphinde bangabhatalwa kufuneka singenelele thina sihambe sifona sithethe into esingazaziyo because we are trying to help and they have service providers and employees to pay. The question is it possible to at some point get an indication by imali lay over to especially the SMMEs that provide service to the municipality to get an indication of what is Zambanjanendo and how the processes can be fast-tracked to make sure that we meet at least the deadlines for payments? Thank you.
Honorable the Minister.
Honorable Member, the responsibility to fight corruption is for everyone, including the service providers. If a service provider followed a correct procedure during the tendering process, there is no need of running around wanting to be paid and not dealing with the relevant municipality which is owing him if he followed a correct procedure. If a municipality is not paying him, the next step is to report the matter at a provincial government where there is an MEC responsible to see to it that what has been procured is paid for. If there is no joy at a provincial level, the government at a national level, COPTAM, is available to come on board. There is no reason why service providers should talk to everyone on the street if they follow the correct tender process.
The point for me is not about deviation.
No, Honorable Kwankwa, no.
It's
no.
about the amount of money
Honorable
all service
Kwankwa.
providers who went through the normal.
Thank
tender.
you, Honorable Kwankwa. Honorable Minister, are you done? You're done, Honorable Minister? Thanks. The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Thring.
Thank you, House Chair. Honorable Minister, a close friend of mine, business friend, or rather a man who has a business, is a man of integrity with high moral and ethical values. Refuses to do any contract work for municipalities. Why? He says to get a tender, a bribe is asked for. To keep the tender, more bribes are required. There are friends of mine who have served as municipal employees who have been sidelined and victimized in the workplace when they refuse to contravene the MFMA, Supply Chain Management Acts, and other municipal legislation. A whistleblower in a corruption case in eThekwini was shot and killed in his driveway. It seems that in many municipalities, corruption pays. Minister, noting that corruption in municipalities—
Honorable Thring, your time has run out.
And the indigent, what plans have you put in place?
Thank you, Honorable Thring.
And whistleblowers and municipal employees from harm? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, please take care to stay within the time allocated for supplementary questions. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. It is not true that all tenders, whoever have a tender, got it through wrong procedures. It cannot be true. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Order, honorable members. Allow the minister to respond.
We will be able, Chair, we will be able to deal with corruption if we say some of the tenders are engulfed with corruption. Now, the advice is when a service provider is requested to pay upfront, the service provider, as you rightly say, Honorable Member, is an ethical man. He must report that I was tendering for a particular project and they wanted me to pay money upfront in order to be given this project. That is the only way we can clamp down corruption if we take responsible action as citizens. To complain and not report anywhere will never bring it to an end.
The Honorable Maimane will have the opportunity to ask the last supplementary question.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and to the Minister. Minister, the ecosystem of corruption is such that you find municipal-owned entities who have acting executives in one instance, and in other instances, when the decisions are taken and lifestyle audits take place, they are not always made public. Would the Minister, in the act of preventing corruption over a long period of time, support the view that for municipal-owned entities, CEOs, and their political principles, those lifestyle audits must be made public so that when decisions are made, they can be cross-referenced against that and legislate for that? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister.
Indeed, Honorable Maimane, the lifestyle audit to critical officials who have an influence in deciding as to who at the end of the day gets a tender should be done and be made public. We support that.
Thank you. Honorable members, question number 588 has been asked by the Honorable Ndamase to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. The question is about plans to support the National Treasury and the Department of Water and Sanitation to resolve the debt of municipalities to water boards which remain a risk to efficient water supply. The Honourable Minister.
Honorable Chair, the problem is more and bigger than between municipalities and water and sanitation. This is a vicious cycle. Municipalities are owed by departments, national and provincial. If you want municipalities to pay what they owe water, departments must pay municipalities. Municipalities are owed by business people. If you want municipalities to be functional and able to pay what is due to ESCOM, due to water boards, business people must pay municipalities. Municipalities must firstly conclude indigent registers so that all of us who are working and should be paying for services we receive from municipalities, we pay for those services. So now, in order to address the problem of water boards and ESCOM, we need to do it as a comprehensive approach. All departments should pay what is due to municipalities. The amount owed by departments is about 29.4 billion. How do we expect municipalities to be able to pay ESCOM and water boards if the government at a provincial and national level are not paying what is due to municipalities? The Department of Water Services is actively involved in the Debt Relief Program Committee, which is working diligently with the National Treasury to finalize a debt write-off mechanism. This mechanism aims to allow water boards to forgive historical municipal debt contingent upon municipalities establishing a solid payment record for the current obligation. We believe this initiative will foster financial sustainability within municipalities by encouraging a commitment to stringent fiscal discipline as a fundamental requirement for continued participation in the program. For municipalities that are currently under intervention, the Department of Cooperative Governance and Regional Affairs intends to collaborate closely with the Municipal Financial Recovery Service Unit within the National Treasury and other relevant stakeholders. Together, we aim to ensure that financial recovery plans prioritize long-term sustainability and are effectively implemented. Moreover, the department has identified that non-revenue water losses are significantly impacting municipalities' ability to service their debt to water boards. In response, there will be a heightened focus on enhancing infrastructure and prioritizing repairs and maintenance. With respect to grant funding, several water services authorities have been granted a permission to allocate up to 10% of their municipal infrastructure grant funds towards repairs and refurbishment project, starting in the 2024-2025 financial year. This allocation will become a mandatory requirement and will encompass not only water infrastructure, but also road, stormwater management, and wastewater
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Initiatives.
Your time has now run out.
Thank
Honourable Ndamase, you have the opportunity to ask a first supplementary question.
Honourable Minister, households and communities are negatively impacted by the billing system challenges and high water costs, which are also caused by water losses. With high rates of non-revenue water, estimated at almost 47%, was written off as non-revenue water in the municipal water recirculation system and due to illegal water connections. The debt owed by municipalities to water boards includes water which was not consumed due to leaks or illegal consumption. Then the question is, what measures is the department implementing to ensure all municipalities are adequately address the problem of water billing and non-revenue water, as it is inappropriately inflates municipal debt and household water bills? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. COGTA recognizes the severity of water billing challenges and non-revenue water impacts on households and municipalities. To address this, we have implemented various measures. Through the Municipal Infrastructure Grant, we have allocated 14.6 billion for water infrastructure upgrade and non-revenue water reduction initiatives over the 2022-2025 medium-term expenditure framework. Additionally, our water reticulation master plans have been developed and implemented in 135 municipalities, resulting in a 10% reduction in non-revenue water losses. To further strengthen our effort, the Department of Water and Sanitation established the National Water and Sanitation Framework, which outlines clear guidelines for municipalities to improve water billing and non-revenue water management. Our partnership with the Department of Water and Sanitation has yielded the development of the Water and Sanitation Master Plan, a comprehensive guide for water infrastructure development. Furthermore, the Department of Water and Sanitation trained over 5,000 municipal officials in water management and revenue protection through their capacity building program.
Honorable Minister, just hold on, please, for a moment. Honorable Manye, why do you want to be recognized? Please assist to mute members on the virtual platform.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the coalition is cheating the system. The minister is reading a typed, not something that he prepared now. He's reading a typed response on a follow-up question. How is that even possible?
Thank you, Honorable Manye. You know, I think we must put this thing to bed. If I was a member of the executive, I would have a team before I come here to look at the original question and to help me with prepared responses for possible follow-ups. So that's also a possibility. If this House feels that ministers should not be allowed to read anything when they answer questions, then the rules must be changed to that effect. Honorable Minister, please continue.
Can I conclude, Honorable Chair? The initiatives that I have responded to above demonstrate government's commitment to supporting municipalities in providing affordable and sustainable water services. We will continue monitoring progress and providing support to ensure effective implementation. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. The second supplementary question is to be asked by the Honorable Buthelezi.
Honorable House Chairperson, I'm going to take that one.
Proceed.
Honorable Minister, the Mahalis and Val water boards face imminent bankruptcy due to municipal debt, water debt, which poses a substantial risk to efficient water supply in their service areas. What measures are being implemented to prevent the attachment of municipal accounts under these boards, as this could severely impact service delivery? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Honorable Chair, the response will be similar to the one I gave before. The issue of the water boards that are on the verge of collapsing due to being owed by municipalities needs a decisive action. And I do want to share this one, Honorable Chair. At a cabinet level, we agreed that I must write letters to all departments and provinces specifying the amount they owe a municipality, and I gave them the end of December to pay what is due to municipality. Come January, together with National Treasury, the departments who would have not complied to pay the municipality, we will engage National Treasury to tap in the allocation for those departments and redirect them to municipalities that are being owed, so that the equipment of municipalities is not going to be attached by the water boards they owe, because they too are being owed by the departments. A collaborative approach is going to be a solution in this matter.
Thank you. Honorable Kwankwa, you may ask the next question.
Minister, the point earlier was about the extent of the problem. And what you are doing ngoba masipala. Ndifuna nje unixelela abantu beconstituency xa bengabhatalwa kumasipala besiza kuthi asingabahoyi and asizuthatha nesenta apha kwa-UDM. Ndifuna nje unixelela. You are aware of the fact that you've already stated the escalating municipal debt to water boards. The question I want to ask you is whether your department is doing anything to fast track or initiate any debt restructuring agreements that obviously Pindi Jongwe, in conjunction with the money that ESCOM owes, they owe to ESCOM, for example, collaboratively, so that a strategy can come out of government comprehensively.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Honorable Member, we are in the process. A practical example at Mfuleni. Honorable members will be aware there was a deadlock a month ago, which eventually resulted to workers not being paid. As COGTAM, we intervened and an agreement is in place between Mfuleni and ESCOM, and a similar agreement also has been entered between Mfuleni and the Water Board, and that is the approach we are doing. But we do not want to make this problem a problem of municipalities and ESCOM versus Water Board. We must handle it as a comprehensive problem. Municipalities must be paid by departments. Business people is a second category that will be engaged, that they must pay what is due to municipalities. And lastly, the ordinary citizens, those of us who are working, should be proactive in paying for services that are being rendered to us by municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Ghana, you may ask the last supplementary question.
I agree with you in terms of everyone that uses the services must pay. Since your appointment as a minister, have you found in your interaction with municipalities that there are municipalities that they are collecting from residents and business and government departments, but they are not paying to the water boards? If so, what are you doing about that practice of municipalities not paying the money that they collect from residents, from businesses to the water boards? Thanks very much. You can see.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, we are aware there are municipalities who are collecting but are not paying either ESCOM or water boards. And we are engaged with ESCOM and Department of Water and Sanitation, all the municipalities that owe these two sections. We have a list of them. And the amount they owe this either ESCOM or water boards. Where municipalities have an ability to pay, let me make an example. Ethekwini municipality, can have many problems, but they don't even owe a cent to a water board. That is a good thing. A municipality that is able to collect is able to meet what is due to be paid by the municipality. And that is what we encourage to all other municipalities, right from government departments. Pay municipalities, pay ESCOM and water boards, and all of us who are working, who are not indigent citizens, we must pay what is due to municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable members, question number 612 has been asked by the Honourable Van Zyl to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. The question is about the steps being taken to ensure that funds allocated for emergency water delivery are used transparently and efficiently, and measures to prevent overcharging and or service manipulation by contractors. The Honourable the Minister.
Thank you again, Honorable Chair and honorable members. Our department takes allegation of corruption and mismanagement in water tanker service seriously. To address these concerns, together with the National Treasury and the Auditor General oversight, we are strengthening financial management and oversight by ensuring the compliance with the Public Finance Management Act and the Municipal Finance Management Act, and conducting regular audits and investigation to prevent overcharging and service manipulation. We continuously support the municipalities in implementing stringent procurement processes with clear performance metrics and penalties for non-compliance. We also encourage municipalities to ensure that contractors comply with the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act and develop and enforce stringent contract management framework. Our department collaborates with law enforcement agencies to investigate and prosecute corrupt elements. We are committed in eradication, corruption and mismanagement in water tanker services and ensuring transparent, efficient and accountable delivery of essential services to our communities. On ensuring transparency and efficiency, we are strengthening financial management and oversight to prevent misallocation of funds, implementation of robust monitoring and evaluation system to track expenditure and service delivery, on preventing overcharging and service manipulation. Following measures are being taken: conducting regular audits and investigation to detect and prevent corrupt practices, implementing stringent procurement processes to ensure competitive bidding and fair pricing, establishing clear performance metrics and consequences for non-compliance. The integrity of municipal finance management will be upheld through performance turnaround plan as per the Cabinet Resolution of 21 August 2024. The inter-ministerial task team that was established is overseeing the activities related to the implementation of the turnaround. The issue of fighting corruption is top amongst the items that we want to combat so that our municipalities, every cent benefits people accordingly. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Van Zyl, you may ask the first supplementary question.
Thank you, House Chair. Honourable Minister, thank you for your response. In the Ugu District Municipality...
Honourable Van Zyl, maybe just move closer to the mic, please.
It's being tall, Chairperson, thank you. In the Ugu District Municipality in KwaZulu-Natal, the water tanker business is quite alive. The CFO admitted to using 20 water trucks per month, costing 120,000 Rand each, totaling 2.4 million Rand a month. This is 28 million Rand a year. You spoke, Minister, about the audits, the regular audits, what is being done by the department. I'd like to find out, based on the audits and what it had shown you, how many successful prosecutions has there been? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I am having a scheduled meeting with the Special Investigating Unit as we have established the Local Government Anti-Corruption Forum that is chaired by the head of the SIU. I'm yet to receive a comprehensive report that include the findings involving municipalities throughout South Africa. I'll be in a better space to respond once I have met the SIU head. Thank you.
Thank you. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Dereku.
Thank you, House Chair. Minister, water challenges occur in different areas due to various reasons such as the maintenance and also natural disaster, which requires the government to have sufficient internal capacity. What is the minister doing to build internal capacity by investing in a water tanker fleet that will be dispatched to communities with water challenges and to address the negative impact of the water tanker cartels who are alleged to be sabotaging water distribution for their businesses? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Direko. The water tankers are an interim measure, especially when there is a crisis. I do agree that when disaster has struck, the infrastructure gets disrupted, because ordinarily, the money we spend on water tankers should be invested on infrastructure that will be able to provide permanent water services to our people. To build internal capacity, to have a gap measure during times of crisis, COGTA proposed including the purchase of water tankers in the Municipal Infrastructure Grant framework under the Division of Revenue Act in 2024. This proposal is part of the Division of Revenue Bill, which was introduced in the National Assembly in February 2024. This process remains now in the hands of the National Treasury as a solution during times of crisis. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Mkalipi, have the opportunity to ask the third supplementary question.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Minister, I think me and you, we agree that the money we spend on the water tankers is exorbitant. And you've just admitted now that that money should be used to build infrastructure and to repair the infrastructure in these municipalities. But why is that not done? And currently, out of the water tankers that are trading with these municipalities, how many of them are actually owned by municipalities and how many of them are private? And how much is the municipality paying per private water tanker?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Yes, we agree water tankers should not be a permanent solution. But the truth is, when a disaster strikes, the infrastructure is blown away. You will need something to provide water to people as an interim measure. That is where I think we agree that at a certain stage, we do need water tankers owned by municipalities so that there is no extra cost when you use them. On the question of how much municipalities are paying, it is 257 municipalities in the country. Really, I can give an odd figure in terms of how much those who use water tankers pay. All that we are encouraging is that this must be regulated because we know they are a source of corruption. The prices are exorbitant. That is why we ensure that we play an oversight role together with the provincial level, that the prices that are charged are not exorbitant. The other truth of the matter, when there is a project of water under construction, it cannot be concluded within a day, a week, or a month. It takes some time. You will need a water tanker in the interim to provide water, but it must be controlled so that it does not become a source of corruption.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Swart, you may ask the last supplementary question.
Thank you, House Chair. Honourable Minister, rising from your response, the ACD steps that you are taking to address corruption. However, one of the issues that is arising is the malicious damage to critical water infrastructure by the so-called water mafia in order to profit from selling water to residents after that infrastructure has been damaged. Honourable Minister, what steps have been taken to ensure that the provisions that Parliament passed in the Critical Infrastructure Protection Act of 2019, which allows for up to 30 years imprisonment or even 100 million rand fine for companies, is being implemented? And is the department working closely with law enforcement and the NPA to ensure that these persons or companies that maliciously damage critical water infrastructure to profit from the provision of water to residents are being brought to book? I thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Indeed, COGTA is working closely with law enforcing agencies to ensure that where there is clear evidence that the infrastructure was deliberately destroyed so that municipalities remain with no option but to go to water tankers that will charge exorbitant fees. If there is clear evidence, proper actions are taken, and we are working closely with the law enforcing agencies to ensure that such service providers found having been part of destroying the infrastructure are charged accordingly and given proper sentences.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, question number 631 has been asked by the Honourable Motubatse to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. The question is about measures being implemented to improve transparency, reduce corruption in municipal tenders, and the specific control mechanisms that are mostly compromised when such transgressions take place. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. The recent asbestos contract controversy in KwaZulu-Natal highlights the need for enhanced transparency and corruption prevention in municipal tenders. To address this, our department is implementing several measures. One, strengthening transparency. We are enhancing disclosure requirements for tender processes, ensuring that bidding information is publicly available and promoting whistleblower protection. Secondly, improved oversight. Regular audits, investigations, and monitoring will be conducted to detect and prevent corrupt practices. Thirdly, capacity building. We are providing training and support to municipal officials to enhance their capacity in managing tenders and contracts. And fourthly, collaboration, as I said before. Our department is working closely with law enforcement agencies, the National Prosecuting Authority, and other stakeholders to investigate and prosecute corruption. When transgressions occur, compromise control mechanisms often include the following: lack of competitive bidding. That is what we look at closely. Insufficient oversight. That is what we promote from national up to local government, that there must be sufficient oversight in order to close the gap. And lastly, inadequate disclosure. That is the failure to disclose conflict of interest, financial information, and other relevant details. To address these vulnerabilities, we are reviewing and refining our regulatory framework, ensuring alignment with international best practices and South Africa's anti-corruption policies. Our goal is to prevent corruption, ensure transparency, and promote accountability in every municipal tender. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Motobatsi, you have the opportunity to ask. Oh, Honorable Motobatsi is here in another camouflage. Honorable Reddy, proceed.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. The question raises a very important issue, and that is, of course, the risk that asbestos plays in posing a health threat to communities. Honorable Minister, given the government's clear prohibition of asbestos use and the ongoing exposure of the communities to this hazardous material, how do you justify the continued delay in resolving this issue? What tangible accountability measures will be implemented if your department fails to meet specific deadlines for asbestos removal? And how will you ensure that this life-threatening situation is not neglected any further?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Indeed, we all agree the issue of asbestos is a problem that must be arrested within the reasonable time, for it is a hazard to the health of our people. We are committed where we are due to ensure that the removal of asbestos is done without further delay, because it places the health of our people at risk. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
A second supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Sompa Masiu.
Thank you, House Chairperson.
Yet another member acting on behalf of one, but please proceed, Doctor.
Yes, indeed. I am taking the question on behalf of the Honorable Sompo. Thank you very much, Ulawaya, for the responses. Arising from those responses, the issue that raises concern is that the Auditor General has identified a high level of non-compliance with supply chain management regulations, as well as in local government, as well as the weaknesses in financial controls. Now, a number of the municipalities have been found to transgress on the same issues repeatedly. The question is, what is the minister and the department doing to ensure that local government sphere implements the recommendations of the Auditor General? In particular, what steps will the minister take to those municipalities who fail to comply, and thus the minister is able to prevent repeat offenders? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. In the 7th administration, we have adopted a turnaround plan where the 257 municipalities have been classified. The first category are functional municipalities. In most cases, they get clean audit or good audit outcome. The second category are medium or risk municipalities. In most of them belong to a category of unqualified as well as qualified audit outcome. But there is a group, which is a third group, composed of 35 municipalities. Most of them receive bad audit outcome, disclaimer or adverse. We have decided to work on a targeted approach. The 35 municipalities have been further broken down to 10 worst performing municipalities in South Africa. We have taken the Auditor General's report and we are analyzing each municipality amongst the 35 where we need to give support. And these 35 municipalities, in a period of 4 months from September to December, we are doing a skills audit in them. Who is the municipal manager? Who is the CFO? Who is Director Technical Services? And who is Director Corporate Services? You will hardly get a municipality with good audit outcome if they employed a CFO with no competencies for that position. So now the first thing as an intervention is to diagnose the problem, do skills audit. Where we need to give support, we will give support.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Your time is now run out. The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Van Zyl.
Thank you, House Chair. Minister, we are very aware that 2 officials were suspended after this corruption scandal with asbestos was exposed. In fact, it was the DAMEC for Public Works and Infrastructure in KZN that took the measures to do that. He has since taken steps to ensure that all tender and bid adjudication meetings are recorded visually and audio with audio. Similarly, the Western Cape government has their bid adjudication meetings open to the public as well. Minister, would you commit to approve regulations to have this best practice rolled out to the whole of South Africa? And what would the time frame of such be to have those approved? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister.
Well, the truth of the matter, we are dealing with the vast area that has been previously disadvantaged. It could be a good thing what the honorable member is making reference to, but we better firstly invest the resources that are available in advancing the basics that our people do not have in a number of provinces that were previously disadvantaged. A good thing where resources are allowing, but to concentrate to roll it out while people still do not have the basics in life. Really, it might have been the misappropriation of resources. Good as it may, but basics must be met first in the previously disadvantaged provinces where you find municipalities who cannot have such an equipment. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Maimane.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, whistleblowers are often the most vulnerable when it comes to cases of corruption such as this. Yet in dealing and talking with whistleblowers, as I've had to, you often find many of them are unprotected. Secondly, that when they report the case, they end up living in the same municipality and face difficulties. When you ask the police to look into the matter, the payment that they are offered so that they move away from the municipality is limited. Can I ask what practical steps is the ministry in the taking to further protect whistleblowers? Because wishing it doesn't protect them. They end up dead or end up being suppressed in their work. Can we find a better mechanism to protect them in practical terms? And have there been examples that the ministry has already undertaken? Thank you very much.
The Honorable the Minister.
Honorable Maimane and honorable members, this is a truth which we face in our daily lives, where the lives of whistleblowers are put at risk and some of whom eventually lose their lives. I do agree the limitations we have even in our policing system in terms of the resources to ensure maximum safety place the life of whistleblowers at risk. This therefore makes a call to all of us as citizens, because the majority of us are quiet, yet we see corruption happening in front of our eyes. If we can all take a collective action to fight against corruption wherever we see, and most of us, we are respected people in our societies. When we have indicated instances of such, there will be a better approach in dealing with them. Anything that one can commit here as an extra protection to whistleblowers really will be a promise that cannot be met until the nation stands together to fight against corruption. But thanks to bold men and women who have that eagerness to stand out and report what they see as wrong. And this is an example that we must follow, all of us.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Question 592 has been asked by the Honourable Adams to the Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. The question is whether, considering that many women and persons with disabilities are facing income disparities, the Minister's office has utilised its monitoring powers to advocate for Cabinet to address and/or close the wage gap amongst women and persons with disabilities. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, House Chair, honorable members, and thank you, Honorable Adams, for the question. The mandate to address the gender wage gap between men and women lies with the Department of Employment and Labour as the custodian of the Employment Equity Act number 55 of 1998 and the Employment Equity Amendment Act number 4 of 2022. These pieces of legislation provide for the equal remuneration between men and women for work of equal value. This is in recognition of equality under Section 9 of the Constitution, the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the various ILO conventions, including Convention of 1958 on Discrimination, 1951 on Equal Remuneration, among others, which South Africa has all ratified. The Minister of Labour issued a code of good practice on equal pay or equal remuneration for work of equal value in 2015. Also, the Commission for Employment Equity is making a concerted effort to address the challenges faced by persons with disabilities in the workplace in general and wage gap in particular. Just want to report that as the department, we are advocating for the removal of the wage gap in the country, especially in the private sector or corporate South Africa. Of course, in the public sector, equity in pay between men and women at the same level is in place and it is fully implemented. I thank you, House Chair.
The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Adams.
Thank you so much, Chair and honourable members. I'll be asking on behalf of Honourable Adams. Chairperson, in 2021, there was a research conducted by the Southern African region. This research came out in research to ensure the inclusive economic development. The research found that in South Africa, women earned 78 cents for every rand earned by their male counterpart, in comparison to 2008, where earning 89 cents. This shows a clear decline. Now, Minister, what has been put in place in terms of advocating to ensure that employers are making intervention plans to ensure that we are closing the income gap and ensuring that we do address unfair pay that goes towards women and persons with disabilities in comparison to their counterparts to address the challenges that are faced by members of our society?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Megan, for the follow-up question. In the country, we have entities such as the Commission for Employment Equity, which is a strategic structure, which also has a mandate to ensure that employers have tangible plans to address and narrow the income gap between male and female employees. They do this through convening or hosting stakeholder engagement, but also they do it together with structures such as CCMA, structures such as labor courts, but of course ourselves, we participate in those stakeholder engagements so that we can actually begin to see the narrowing of the gap. And as I indicated, the numbers that you are talking about, indeed, they are in the private sector or corporate South Africa. Sometimes they fluctuate, sometimes they become better, but sometimes they become even worse, like you have indicated. Thank you very much.
The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Spies.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable Minister, what research initiatives are underway to investigate and address wage disparities, particularly in rural areas where wage gaps reach up to 24%? Who conducts this research and what methodologies do they employ?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much again for the question. Like I've indicated, the Commission for Employment Equity, it actually does conduct research on these issues, and that is why when it releases statistics, it will be based on the work that they will have done. But also Statistics South Africa, they do release these figures based on the work that they will have done, whether in the form of research or by gathering data from the people or going to the employers to actually see as to that there is a gap. And therefore, we know for sure, for instance, that between 2014 and 2022, the total median earning gap increased from 4,000 to 5,417 between males and women because of the research that gets conducted by the CEE and of course by bodies such as the Statistics South Africa, but of course your CCMA as well as the labor court to find information and get information on these issues from people that come to complain about the gap. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Could we please just ask that the Honourable